Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the press conference of the film Siglo, PAGLULUWAL, Century of Birthing, in the framework of the Orizzonti section of the 68th Venice International Film Festival. We are very glad here this morning to welcome producer, editor, cinematographer, writer, and director Lav Diaz.
Hello.
As a way to start our conversation about Siglo, PAGLULUWAL, which is obviously open to the floor as well. I mean, anybody who has questions in English or Italian, anybody is welcome to raise their hands, and we will give them the microphone to allow them to ask their question. Anyway, as a way to start off this conversation, I would like to ask you, Lav, where did the source for this film, original inspiration, come from? Because this is a quite personal film, I feel, and it's a lot about the process of creation, of birthing in various possible meanings. Can you tell us something about the very beginning, the starting point for the film?
Well, I've been working on an unfinished work for the last 4 years. It's called Woman of the Wind. Yeah, I can't finish the film, so I have this ongoing discourse inside me. How am I gonna finish this work?
Oh,
okay. It's so tight, you know.
It's not moving.
So yeah, I've been working on a film called Woman of the Wind. It's been going on for the last 4 years. I've been looking for threads or things to be able to finish it, and I can't find a thread. So I'm waiting for that, and then one day, yeah, I just decided to work on a side story about a filmmaker who cannot finish the work. So that's me. And also I want to do a tribute to our friends who were murdered 2 years ago, Alexis Tiuseco and Nika Buhink. These are the inspirations for the work, you know. The two persons who died 2 years ago.
So it is clear that the character of Homer is some kind of a mirror for you. How much of this character in the film is corresponding to your image image of yourself? I mean, beyond the simple fact...
It's not 100%. It's a composite of so many artists that I know. Me and some other artists. The struggle. It's a kind of composite thing, you know.
But there is also some kind of, I would say, critical stance towards this character. I mean, is this criticism also something that, some kind of, self-analysis about your own role as a creator, your relationship with your actors and your crew?
Yeah, every time you do some work, it's always that struggle within. You know, you're always trying to define your role as an artist.
And I mean, there is this point which is quite amazing when Angel Aquino tells the director, Homer, now you have this film, you have been working on it for 3 years, you should take a decision. You should either let it fade into oblivion or show it as it is. But eventually you came up with a third solution with this film, because you have been showing glimpses of that film, including them in a new film. So you actually haven't followed her advice.
No, of course, yeah. Yeah, everything is very instinctive at some point where, you just want to let it go. With the discourse with Angel, basically he's the problem with the film. He didn't want to shoot the film anymore. I've been asking her to do additional scenes, but she said she couldn't do it anymore. We had these fights the last 3 years because she couldn't do it. So the discourses that I put there between me and her are real things. I just reenacted them. Yeah.
So this is a kind of conversation that you actually had with her.
With her.
But
it's real.
But so how did the idea of actually incorporating those things in the film come up?
Well, it became very organic when I started creating the character of Homer. Just keep shooting and shooting, add things, It's a sort of layering that comes when you're I know, just pushing it and, just letting it open, making things open. So I think the struggle comes when you try hard to be very critical. That's when it stops, your mind gets stunted by being too critical. But if you let it go, then things become very organic. Just follow the threads.
But do you think that now this was the final solution for Babae Nang Haging? I mean, Woman of Wind? I mean,
Yeah.
So this is the final solution. It won't.
I think so. Yeah, because Angel Aquino wouldn't do the thing anymore. So
You're not then planning to serve the dish as
one
it was
day,
left.
I think I would show that film because I have a cut of that film, but I think it's not really fulfilled aesthetically. That's my problem with the film. Yeah.
And how did you choose the segments of the film that you included in Siglo? I mean, was there a specific reason why you included certain pieces of the film rather than other?
The discourse on madness, dementia, on the issue of the cult, it's a very, very, it's a phenomenon in my country. There are so many cults in the country. Yeah, this is born out of, poverty, and there's too much dysfunction in society. So people, they tend to go to these things, cult, blind faith and everything, and it's very dangerous. And I think it's a universal issue. It's happening, One of the statements there is that fundamentalism will destroy the world. It's very true, yeah.
But it seems like in the film there is actually a parallel between the role of this father of the cult and the director, because in both cases there seems to be like some kind of refusal or denial towards a certain creation, a certain birth. On the one side, the film. On the other side, the pregnancy of the young girl who went out of the house.
Yeah.
So, do you think you're making a parallel between the two characters?
Yeah, you're talking about dogma, things that you couldn't break. And you're talking about the artist as being this liberating, guy. So it's always that kind of discourse and confrontation. I want to play on that in this film, yeah.
But, okay, there was a question here.
I have two questions.
Yes.
Well, one is more general. Most of your films are quite long, many hours compared to most films. And why do you choose to make films which are that long? And is it really? Do you feel that this is necessary for the story? And how does it really help the story? That's the first question.
Yeah.
The second question, at the very end, the man and the pregnant woman who kind of dresses up in a way under the rain, it reminds me of King Lear, when King Lear is with the fool and it's raining and they're becoming insane. So I was wondering if you had that in mind when you made that scene.
With the first question,
Thank you.
My cinema is free. I'm not confined to the conventions of the 2-hour thing, which is very limiting. I look at my films as a liberated canvas. I don't want to be stuck to the 1 hour and a half to 2 hour and a half. If the story calls for more threads, more scenes, to be added, then I'll go for that. I'm not really afraid of showing 40-hour films if it's needed, There's no long film or short film. There's just a story. There's just cinema for me. Yeah. With the King Lear thing, there's a kind of parallelism there where, the artist at the start destroys his muse, and in the end he wants to liberate the muse. That's the meaning of the scene there, the last shot of the film, where they were dancing in the rain and in the mud. Yeah. He needed to liberate the muse so that he can liberate himself. He can liberate his art. Yeah. the birthing.
what happens with the child in the end? I mean, do we?
Yeah, it's a mystery.
We don't
Maybe
know.
maybe that the woman died, or maybe there's no birth at all. It's a mystery. I don't want to answer that question. You know, it's just I just cut it there. You know, you can have your answer as a viewer. You can embrace the film as yours. You can have your own answer with the film.
Because maybe we could also think, I mean, this is a possible reading that is quite maybe forced, but it could be there as well. But we could also think that the story of the cult involving this father and this young member of the fraternity who leaves, gets pregnant, and is then exiled, sent away. It feels at points that it could actually be another story in the mind of the director, and that eventually it's not a real meeting, it's a meeting between the director and a new character, and that character, that birth, could actually be the liberation for also the previous film. Is that something you could...
In my treatment, actually, it's a storyline that's playing in his head. It's the next film that he's going to do. The story of the cult and the virgin, you know.
And in this way, actually, through this film, you yourself have done the same thing. You have liberated Baba and Anhagin through the process.
I'm trying to do that. You know,
No, but you have done it, because now we can see it. It's born.
Yeah, hopefully it's there. Yeah.
But in regard to the concept of creation, there, I mean, you're not only making this kind of parallel, but you're specifically talking about cinematic creation and a lot of issues involving making films and being an artist as a filmmaker. There is especially this conversation with this journalist or filmmaker who's doing the documentary or TV interview with the director. How much of what is said there is also responding to your opinions about films, about also the rhetorics about auteur cinema?
Those are my views. I don't really know cinema. Even if I'm a filmmaker, this medium is still a mystery to me. I'm still trying to, find my own cinema. It's a learning process always.
Mm-hmm. And in that,
I don't know if there's a filmmaker who can actually say that he knows cinema. Fuck that. You don't know cinema at all. You just do things.
What do you I mean, as an ongoing process, I mean, I'm curious to ask you.
Maybe we're just jugglers of images, or just storytellers. It's just that. But what's cinema? I don't know.
Another question, quite a simple question. The film it's filmed in black and white. Is this a choice, or is this?
It's a choice.
Budget.
Yeah. It's a choice.
It's a choice.
The last 6 films, it's been in black and white.
Okay. And why? What's the reason?
I just love black and white.
You like black and white?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just love black and white. I grew up watching black and white films.
Okay.
So yeah.
But originally the films are actually shot in color.
No,
no.
they're shot in black and white. This one's black.
This one was shot originally in black and white, because I remember I saw Encantos in color.
Was shot in color, and then I transposed them.
Okay. But since we were talking about technical aspects, this is the first film you have actually shot with your new camera.
Yeah.
Can you tell us something about this new experience, this new exploration?
There's a new revolution in camera. It started with the 7D Canon and the 5D Canon, where you can actually interchange, the lenses. And I got the new Panasonic AF100, where you can actually do that also. So I dug up my old Canon lenses, and I bought a cheap, made in China pale mount. So I was able to use my old Canon lenses, the 35mm and the 85mm and the 24mm. They're dusty, but I cleaned them up, and then I started shooting. That's the result, yeah.
So in terms of the actual visual conception of the film, would you say that there is something different compared to your previous films? Is there some kind of exploration that you dared here that you haven't tried before?
Yeah, because with the The digital revolution, when the mini DV started, you're stuck to one lens, which is there. You just have to embrace that kind of thing. With the new technology, with these interchangeable lenses, cameras, you can explore now. With the focal length, if you want to do 24 millimeter, you can just put it there. If you want to do 35 millimeter, you can just do it there. If you want to do 85 millimeter for good portraits, and you can do 50 or 85 millimeter. There's this freedom again to do the lenses, to use the lenses, which is really good for cinematographers. Yeah. The play with lights also, with these lenses is very good, yeah.
Because in fact it feels that this ongoing process of exploration, of discovery of what cinema is there in the film. I mean, you're making a film about cinema, about the birthing of cinema, the
new technologies,
and
you mix the old and the new. It's really exciting now. Yeah, the new technology with the micro four thirds cameras, and you're using all these old lenses. It's really exciting to explore. Yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, as you said that you're still learning, you're still discovering and exploring. Would you say what would you say is the main discovery or the main lesson, the main step forward you made with this film, or if there is any?
Yeah, non-condescendingly, cinema is being, one of the characters said. Yeah, it's like that, Olaf. Yeah.
Kuya, very simple question. The poet of the rain, is she actually a real poetess? And I mean, what is she actually reciting there? Is that a poem of her?
Yeah.
Is this something you wrote?
Yeah, it's a poem, yeah. Poet of the Rain, yeah, it's a poem. I can send you the copy of the poem.
Is it something you wrote yourself? Or
Yeah, I wrote that, yeah.
What about the song?
I wrote the song.
Yeah, and you composed the music as well?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Are there other questions about the film? Okay, please.
I'm just wondering, what is the birth? What is born? The title is The Century of Birthing.
Yeah.
The birth of art, the birth of
everything,
the story.
aesthetics. Maybe there's a new world out there. We just have to be very careful. Aestheticism, can be very destructive also. Dogmatism is really destructive. Look at what's happening now. Tomorrow it's going to be September 11 again. You know what happened?
It's tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, tomorrow, yeah. But don't fly, but I'm going to fly tonight.
Well, I also...
So we need a certain kind of rebirth in this world, in art and in everything, Every day we must seek that, a kind of rebirth. Rebirthing or birthing, whatever, we need that every day. When you wake up, you're lonely, you're sad, you're fucking fucked up.
Sure.
You want to do things,
It makes me
it's
think...
a kind of perspective that you want to do every day,
This kind of... religious, let's say, metaphysical, spiritual maybe approach to the story kind of reminds me of a certain kind of theater, like Grotowski, or I don't know, Eugenio Barba. They tell religious stories in a very. I think they also give themselves a lot of time, and they look for the feeling, the detail. Do you have any of this in mind? Do you think it's a correct comparison?
Yeah.
There are similarities.
If you've seen all my early works, it's all about that, the waiting and waiting and waiting, long shots. There are even 1 hour shots in Jeremias, 27 minutes, 47 minutes shot for just one scene. Long scenes, yeah. Just sitting in the forest,
On a more ironic side, actually, I was also thinking of another declination of the concept of birthing in the film, because at some point Reuter is interviewing the member of the cult who's telling us about the the birthing of the universe, of the world, through twists. I don't know, where did that come from?
It's just an inspiration. It's like, you know, because we were like constructing the set, and then I saw the carpenter hammering some, you know, nails there, and things are being twisted. So then we got to put that in the film. You know, he's fixing the structure, and the nails are twisting things, but they're fixed. So yeah, it's a kind of birthing also, but it's metaphorical, but it's kind of twisted, you know.
Well, I mean, this is interesting because you're telling us that many things about the genesis of the film, or the single scenes, or the dialogues are also coming from an inspiration that is very, very momentary, that is coming on the set itself. But I was really wondering, as you were talking about the very lengthy scenes, what about your work with the actors in those very lengthy scenes? Because when you have these 10, 20 minutes shots, sometimes the characters have to go through a huge load of emotions, a huge load of different emotions, and starting from being totally in control and then losing it and falling into desperation. I'm thinking especially on the impressive scene where the father of the cult is welcoming back the young girl and very authoritatively refusing her return, but then he collapses himself. I mean, for such a kind of scene, what kind of rehearsal do you have with your actors? How many times do you actually shoot such scenes?
There's a lot of preparation because I just do one take. So, and these actors, they've been working with me for quite a while. They know my process, so they know that I'm not gonna do the cut-to-cut things. So there's a lot of rehearsals there, and then, you know, they know the process, so they're quite okay with that, you know. Yeah, it's quite emotional because you just do it one take. You don't fake everything. You don't actually fake anything. It should flow. The emotion should flow. So they're used to the process. I've been working with them.
But do they usually manage to pull it through at the first take?
Yeah. Usually
Okay.
it's the first take and the second take are the best ones.
Because I thought there was also some kind of internal commentary to that in the scene where Angel is rehearsing the line,
Yeah.
and she's repeating it and trying to memorize it, and she fails.
She was actually rehearsing her lines for a soap opera, and I just shot her.
So those are really lines coming from a soap opera, not yours. Oh,
No,
okay,
it's a
fantastic.
soap opera. It was rehearsing, I just shot her.
Okay, fantastic.
I visited her and just shot her. So
Are there any other questions from the floor? Yes, please, because this is the last one we can afford. Yes, please.
A personal question, if you don't have to answer. I'm just wondering, after seeing a piece like this, are you a religious person?
I don't know, but you know, I believe in transcendence, but I don't believe in God.
So that there's
I believe in
something
energy.
beyond.
There's some energies there, but I don't believe in God.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, our time is up, so thanks a lot, Lav, and thanks a lot to you for staying for this press conference.
Thank you.